We need Doom. Alright, to backtrack just 1 second. In the wake of Endgame, in the wake of Thanos doing a Voldemort, in the wake of a need for a new MCU big bad is the discussions of Doom. I get it, we all love Doom. We want him to be in the MCU.
I agree.
But this is ridiculous. It's the equivalent of nerd blue balls. You guys just want him in phase 4? A villain for the next Avengers movie? A villain for the next Fantastic Four reboot? Coming in T-minus 3, 2, 1. Boom, it's here, and you know who won't be the villain? Doom. Because Marvel aren't dumb. Kevin, I'll shine your bald head, you beautiful man, Feige isn't dumb. Loki was a villain, Ultron was a villain, but Thanos was the villain, the bad guy we worked 3 phases to get. And here I think we replicate that for the next Avengers movies. Secret Invasion, Kang, and then Doctor Doom. Think bigger than phase 4. Think phase 6. Okay, instead of taking this chit chat, instead of hearing about people wanting a Doom solo movie, what? Really? I thought I'd do something about that, actually explain how we can work Doom into the MCU, a way that makes sense for the character and a way that thematically makes sense for these movies. These Marvel movies. You see, the best villains are the ones that don't think that they're the villain. To them, they're the hero of the story. They want to make a point, achieve a goal, and it's the way they go about their goals that make them villainous. Think Killmonger or Thanos. These stories, these characters have a purpose, and no villain embodies that better than Doom. You see, at Doom's core, he's just a man that wants to rescue his mother from hell, as you do. He's so consumed with his pursuit of power, so consumed with his goal to save his mother, that he's willing to do immoral things to get there, to become the villain. Like Killmonger and Thanos before him, Doom believes that a world in his vision would prosper, and in a vision of an alternate future, it did. Fair to say Doom is a loaded character, and when he appears in the MCU, there'll be a rich tapestry to pull from, entering the MCU as a complex and three-dimensional character off the bat. Dr. Frickin' Doom is the Marvel equivalent of Darth Vader. He's the Michael Jordan of evil. He's done every trick in the book, sacrificing his lover for a magically boosted suit made of her skin, because yeah, that's a thing. He's taken a shot from the Infinity Gauntlet to the face. He's got the technological prowess of Tony Stark with a suit better than the Iron Man armor, containing force fields, short-range telekinesis, the ability to absorb energy, project energy, fly, and that's just his armor. In the Marvel Universe, his mystical abilities are only second to Doctor Strange, although that is up for debate, mastering every known magic to man. He's one-punched a lion, then the Hulk, defeated Galactus, and then Odin, has traversed time, been given the thumbs up by the Panther God Bast, being able to pass through the gate only achievable through those of pure heart, has deflected the Purple Man's mind control through pure will. Thanos, eat your heart out because there's a new kid on the block and his name is Lil Victor. That brings us to the main point of the video, what the MCU needs. The MCU needs Victor. More importantly, it needs a villain that can be worked towards. A villain over the next 3 phases that can be paid off, like Thanos was in the Infinity Saga. We need a series of Fantastic Four movies over phase 4, 5, and 6. We need a series of new Avengers movies following the chronicles of the next iteration of the Avengers over phase 4, 5, and 6. We need a villain that these movies can work towards. Sure, in each movie our heroes can tackle different adversaries, perhaps the Fantastic Four face Annihilus, only to be defeated and return with this annihilation wave in a future Nova movie, inadvertently setting him up as a big bad for the cosmic side of things going forward. Then the FF face Galactus, introducing the Silver Surfer, setting them up for a conflict with Doom. On the Avengers side of things, they can do a similar thing. It makes sense that we're building towards Secret Invasion for phase 4, with the introduction to the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, and fans have been clamoring for Kang, so lodging him into phase 5 would be sweet, although there are rumours that Norman Osborn could fill that spot, either way. But in the last movie for each trilogy, for the Fantastic Four and the New Avengers, Doom needs to be there. He needs to be the villain we're working towards. A lot of people want a Doom solo movie, and to that I say, are you blind? Can you not see Marvel's formula yet? Marvel Studios is in the interest of telling stories about their heroes. At the end of the day, Doom is still a villain. At the end of the day, Marvel will still pump out a trilogy for each hero's journey that we follow. Minus the Hulk, but that's sort of a legal thing. I really don't want to see another Mystique incident, where we sort of redeem these villainous characters. We turn them into something they're not. She's not a hero. She's a C-list X-Men villain. So what we do is take his amazing origin and use the Fantastic Four's final film to dive into Doom's origin. Sort of like how Infinity War leaned into it being Thanos' movie. Then we see the conclusion to the story in the second film from the hero's point of view. We see the story of a boy tortured by the death of his father, scarred by the memory of his mother's soul being taken by a demon. We depict the rivalry of two geniuses and anchor the conflict between Reed and Victor in here and now by the events of then and there. We contextualize the battle between Doom and the Fantastic Four by Victor's past. We give Doom his castle, his Doombots, his cape, and his origin story. We depict Doom right, the way he should be, the way he was meant to be. The Darth Vader of the MCU. The villain that every hero's story leads to. The second event film Marvel will be able to earn since Endgame. The culmination for the New Avengers story and the Fantastic Four's story. And that's the key word here. Earn. Because if it's not earned, why does it matter? That's why we build him up slowly. That's why we have the New Avengers face the Skrulls, and then Kang, and then finally Doom. That's why we have the Fantastic Four face Annihilus, then Galactus, and then Doom. Doom is the endgame. Doom is what we earn. Okay, deep into fanfiction mode here. Think about it like this. In Age of Ultron, Sokovia was destroyed, leaving the country vulnerable. The country is fractured and in ruins. It allows one man to use that weakness to rise. The return of a man that aims to rebuild his ancestral homeland of Sokovia. Using his vast intellect, he couples together the remains of the Ultron drones, creating his iconic Doombots, quickly restoring the country to its former glory. As the Doombots police the state, Doom vows to the people that no outsider should step foot in Latveria without his say-so, that no cities will drop from the sky. The grateful people champion his claim as monarch, and he returns the nation to its pre-Soviet era name, Latveria. Now, rebuilding those Ultron bots and turning them into Doombots to govern and police the state can sort of give order to the chaos that is the torn up Sokovia. He remodels the castle that Von Strucker was in at the start of Age of Ultron, setting up shop there. Now, pieces of that could easily be shown in any news report in any future Marvel movie, more specifically the MCU's second Fantastic Four movie. We don't even show Doom at this point. We don't blow our load like some pre-ejaculating Marvel fan. We take our time, like I said, we earn it. If you want to tease him a little more, we could even backtrack to the end credit scene of the first Fantastic Four movie. Perhaps we see a broken road sign for Sokovia, a character walking by in boots. Perhaps we see a few memorials of the anniversary of Sokovia's destruction, a few shots of the ruined city that still hasn't been cleaned up, you know, due to the giant fucking crater that is there. Then we see a figure in rugged hiking gear, hiking over the rubble towards the castle. We only see the figure from the side and behind, his head obscured by his hooded jacket. Finally, the figure reaches the top of the vantage point and the camera rests behind him as the figure looks down upon the city, showing a vast destroyed cityscape, a crater, and then the camera cuts. That's all you need. You honestly don't need any more than that. Okay, to explain things a little further and to go a little deeper, in the first MCU Fantastic Four movie, we introduce our four heroes, sword agents who are tasked to explore a cosmic storm in space. Reed, a man that's perfected Lawson's warp drive technology. His wife Susan, a statistician and analyst. She's also what sort of centers Reed emotionally, brings him back to reality. His best friend, Ben Grimm, who reluctantly agrees to join the crew as the pilot. And Johnny, a hot-headed security officer over at Sword, who manages to weasel his way into his sister's mission. Get their origin story out of the way and have them face Annihilus, who turns out to be responsible for the cosmic storm that gave them their powers. Attempting to use his cosmic control rod to open up a gateway to our dimension, it creates a sort of cosmic fallout, if you will. The four go to explore and get caught in the storm. Over the movie, their arc can be to face the thing that created them, that made them a family, to defeat Annihilus together. To me, making Annihilus the reason for the cosmic storm makes the overall story much more tighter. It's not some random cosmic storm that gave the FF their powers. It's the fallout of Annihilus's machinations. Making it his fault makes our heroes much more intertwined with this character, a villain with a personal relation to our heroes. Sending Annihilus back to the native zone represents a metaphorical conclusion to our heroes' journeys over this film, defeating the thing that created them. Of course, the Fantastic Four win, you know, it being their first outing and all. Annihilus can return 6 or 7 years down the line in a future Nova movie, but not by himself, this time with his Annihilation Wave, setting up an ensemble movie to build towards, making Annihilus the big bad for the cosmic side of things going forward, as all the cosmic-based heroes join forces to vanquish Annihilus for good. Seeing the likes of Captain Marvel, the Silver Surfer, Nova, the Guardians, and Adam Warlock team up as all their stories lead towards annihilation, with the Earthbound heroes busy with Doom. We pay off all that build up with Doom facing the Four in the third Fantastic Four movie. In the first movie, he is only teased in the end credits. In the second, he is mentioned in news reports or briefly talked about, but in the third film, we can reveal his complete origin. His mother was a mystic in the vein of Doctor Strange. He went to uni with Reed, got scarred by an explosion, retreated to a monastery and entombed in armor, then took Sokovia for his own. Jesus, that's a lot. You set him up over multiple movies and build him into this Darth Vader-like antagonist he should be. Menacing, powerful, and scary. Hopefully you can see that I want the third Fantastic Four movie to be the Infinity War of these three phases. We flesh Doom out, see his point of view, then in the third New Avengers movie succeeding this one, we have that be our endgame. The story that ties up the universe at this point for the older Avengers and springboards a new roster of heroes, sort of letting the MCU focus on the X-Men going forward. At this point, it will be Phase 6. I'm willing to bet the Fantastic Four will be firmly established. I can guarantee the X-Men will most likely have had their first outing at this point, and if Endgame suggested anything, then I think we will be looking at the young Avengers to come. Heroes like Leela and Cassie taking their roles as Hawkeye and Stature, maybe even the kid from Iron Man 3 becoming Iron Lad, who knows. What Doom's involvement means is that some heroes might not make it out alive, similar to Tony and Black Widow in Endgame. Perhaps we start to see heroes from the first three phases like Scott, Wanda, Thor, and Hulk bite the dust. Scott being one I'd like to see, as her daughter Cassie can be fighting alongside Scott. We sort of get that Endgame moment all over again, with Cassie and Scott instead of Peter and Tony. Plus it'd be a nice reversal of Doom killing Cassie in the comics, having it be Scott instead. But what am I trying to get at? What's the point of this video? Well, this is how I want Doom to be in the MCU. I want a Doom as powerful as the one from Ultimate Alliance, but I want him to have the depth and the character to go with it. I want him to think that he's saving the world. I want him to think, know, and believe that he is right. I want that Doom that places himself above everyone, that sees everyone else like insects. I want him to be the next Thanos, to sweep the floor with the Marvel Universe, the X-Men, the New Avengers, and the Fantastic Four. I want him to beat them in a way that he does in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I want to see the Darth Vader of the MCU. I want to see the Doom I imagined, the Doom we deserved. After 3 shit tries at Doom, don't you think that it's time that we've earned him? Build him into this glorious magnum opus to the climax of the 6th phase of Marvel movies? Of course this concept, this idea may share a fair amount of criticism. A complaint I heard about Doom being a villain in the MCU, with the Sokovian backstory, was that Doom wouldn't be Doom for long. And sure, that'd make sense if he was a villain for Phase 4, but he isn't the villain for Phase 4. However, Phase 6 on the other hand, the Sokovian origin starts to make a lot more sense. We see him return to Sokovia after Age of Ultron, we see him retake the country around Infinity War, and over the 10 years we lead up to the end of Phase 6, we see a Doom that has mastered sorcery, technology, and politics to become a man proud enough and egotistical enough to think that he should rule the world. Some may say, why Doom? Why not build towards the Skrulls, Kang, Annihilus, or Galactus towards Phase 6? And to that I could say 2 things. Doom is a better character than a majority of those. The substance of the person is richer. And 2, I've still included all of those characters into my design of a future MCU. None of them, to me, fit the bill to be the MCU's next big bad as much as Doom. Some are powerful, some are scary, some are full of character, but none of them are all of those things, except for Doom. Okay, this video has been an emotional one for me. I'm a huge fan of his character, and I think that a villain as strong as Thor, as mystical as Strange, and as smart as Iron Man deserves to be presented accurately on screen. It would be easy to have any other villain take Doom's place, but if executed well enough, if the time is taken to build his character, to have him appear in the end credits of a Marvel movie, mention him in its sequel, and develop him in its third, then conclude that conflict in the final New Avengers movie, then, well, we may be dealing with another great antagonist here. It wouldn't be the easy choice. The easy choice would be to cram him in one film and kill him off then and there. But Marvel doesn't choose easy. They choose what's right for the characters and the story. And if the Fantastic Four come near the MCU, then you can bet Doom will shortly follow. Granted, some of you may not share my opinion. In your own minds, you may have other plans for Marvel going forward. To me, I think this plan works, for the characters, but even for the actors too. To create one interconnected, long-spanning narrative that allows the actors portraying these heroes to pass on the mantle, as they won't want to be portrayed portraying these heroes forever. So by the end of Phase 6, we'll be looking at a Peter that's in his late 20s, early 30s. We'd be looking at a T'Challa that's over being king, who may want to pass on the throne to his sister. Carol, who wants to live a quiet life, who wants to pass on the mantle of captain to Monica. What we see is a continuation of this universe. When Endgame concluded Phase 3, it kicked off Phase 4, and when the third new Avengers movie concludes Phase 6, it needs to be able to springboard Phase 7, exploring the X-Men and concluding Peter Parker's story. If you've noticed throughout this video, I have a hypothetical lineup of Marvel movies from Phases 4 to 6. In this, I have a series of Spider-Man films, from Far From Home at the beginning of Phase 4 to Spider-Man No More, the 5th Spider-Man movie. The Spider-Man movie that sees Peter face the Sinister Six, and all the movies in between each lead towards this 5th Spidey movie. Now, what's my point? Well, post-Doom, at the beginning of Phase 7, we have the 6th and final Spidey movie. A movie that sees Peter face Norman as the Green Goblin, a man that's been working as Pete's dark mentor ever since Tony had been out of the picture. Peter can die defeating Norman, passing on the mantle to Miles, the new Spider-Man going into Phase 7 and onwards, joining the Young Avengers and learning what it is to be a hero in the same way that Peter did before him, and Tony did before Peter. Now, hopefully I was able to carry out a reasonably sound argument. I know I went off on a few tangents here and there, specifically with the Fantastic Four, Annihilus, and then Spider-Man, but I wanted to create a video that explains my vision for Doctor Doom in the MCU, one that explains my larger vision for the other villains in the MCU, and how everyone's storyline can coincide with the conclusion to the story of the MCU with Phase 6. Alright, that being said, it's been a long one. I'd appreciate if you guys could support the video by sharing it around Reddit, Facebook groups, I do not care. Let's get this idea for the MCU circulating, one that sees Doom as the big bad going forward. That being said, I've been Mitch and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.